What's going on, guys? Ian here with another video, and today we are unboxing the Sony ZV-E10, Sony's vlogging camera, which came out about a year ago. Beautiful little camera which basically follows along the same lines as the Sony a6000 series. So I'm currently using the Sony a6000, which I've been using for about the last 5 or 6 years, and this nicely follows in line. It kind of fits in somewhere along the a64 to 6600 mark in terms of its specification, but there is one big feature with this one in that it doesn't have a viewfinder. So if that is something that you are looking for in your camera, then it might be a deal breaker. But if you can get around the fact that it doesn't have a viewfinder, this is a feature-packed little camera. So we're going to get this bad boy open and have a look what we get in the box. So first thoughts, the camera comes with a lovely little sleeve that says made for vlogging. So this is where Sony are really putting their money. They want you to think that this is the next big vlogging camera, and it follows along the lines from the ZV-1, which was Sony's first vlogging camera, which had the fixed lens. This one does have the interchangeable lenses. There we go. So with this one, it will fit Sony's current E-mount lens system, which is luckily what I've got. So here we go. So in there you've got straight away loads of instructions, loads of warranty, loads of the stuff that we're really not too worried about. And if we open this up, this is everything that we get in the box. So first and foremost, we have a battery. It is the same battery that the whole 6000 series, with the exception of the 6600, currently takes, which is the NPFW50 battery. So another battery for the collection there. We have a dead cat, or windscreen as some people call it, for the microphone setup, cassette lead for the charging adapter, and then the European version of the same thing. USB to USB-C cable, so you can hook it up to your computer, because this bad boy can also be used as a webcam as well. Literally just plug it straight into the computer, no software. Charging block, which takes the cassette lead and then to USB, and a strap, which, to be fair, never going to use. I'm not sure why that's in there, being a vlogging camera, because not many vloggers will wear it around their necks. So the main attraction is this fella here, the Sony ZV-E10, and this is the camera. This is the bit that we've been looking for. This is the bad boy. 24.2 megapixel camera, which can film at 4K resolution video. First impressions is it's slightly smaller than the current 6000 series, and it's very, very light. Now, granted, I haven't put a battery in this yet, but very light. Initially, straight away, I am seeing that it is a completely different layout to all of Sony's other cameras. Very, very simple. Sony have kept it very simple here, in that you have an on-off button, you have a mode button, you have a big red button that you can push to start recording, rather than the small one which used to be here on the others. We also have a mode button here, which initially is set up to do the background defocus, which again, if you're doing vlogging, it will add that nice little bit of blur to the background. And on the front here, this little bad boy here, which used to be the on-off switch on all of Sony's other cameras, is now the zoom control. Of course, the shutter button is still here, and on the back, that is pretty much similar to any other Sony setup. So very, very straightforward in terms of the use there. Moving on to the side, we have a little door here, and that is a jack socket, so you can plug in an external microphone, which is a godsend. The Sony a6000, which I've been using for a long time, which this is actually being recorded on, does not have the external mic input, which basically means anything I'm recording on a separate mic needs to be synced when I do the video edit. And then in this door here, we have the USB-C, we have the mini HDMI, and we also have the headphone jack, so you can monitor your audio. Of course, you've got the standard Sony hot shoe on the top for mounting accessories, and the screen, which basically will work in pretty much any configuration, meaning yes, you can see what you're recording and monitor where you are, and also, as I mentioned at the top, no viewfinder. Finally, on the bottom, before we fire this bad boy up, you have the battery port, where we can now put in our battery and a memory card, and it does take the normal SD memory cards. And of course we do need to fit a lens to this. The package that I got was for the body only, and that is purely and simply because I actually don't need the kit lens because I already have one. So we'll just fit this 50mm prime lens, which we've got at the moment. And first things first, the quality on that viewfinder is looking amazing. There's so much information, which again you can tailor through the menus. When you push record, you can be in no mistake that it's recording because you've got a big red border that comes around the screen, as well as a recording light on the front, which is red. So if you are vlogging and you're facing yourself, you can't be in any mistake that you're actually recording. The quality is absolutely amazing, and you can also track your audio on here as well. Of course, that is customizable. You don't need all this information on the screen if you don't want. It will also tell you what your f-stop is and all your ISO information, so you can actually see everything that you need to see and more on this screen. Fantastic quality, loving that. There are some other features with this camera which we'll get into. The camera mic is on this module here, which is built in. It has 3 different microphones in there, which is meant to give you the best audio possible. And of course you can put this windsock on the top there to reduce any wind noise when you're out and about. Because when you're out and about, there are different modes that you can do. So you can either keep the background in sharp contrast, or you can actually push this button here and go into background blur, which adds a nice little bit of blur to the background, keeping you very much the focus of your vlog. There are other nice features as well, in that you have the S and Q button, which basically means slow and quick. So you can either have a time lapse or you can have slow motion, and the slow motion is very good on this camera. So just head outside now and test features like the steady shot, because this does have a digital steady shot built in. And we'll also test the background blur, see how good that does and what sort of depth of field we're getting. And we'll finally test the mic to see if the actual mic module is all that, and whether it does cut out all of the sort of wind noises that you would get potentially when you're outside with a built-in mic. So we're out walking with the Sony ZV-E10, and one of the nice features, especially for vlogging and making videos look a little bit more sort of scenic, is the feature where when you're actually talking to the camera, that your background is a little bit blurred to kind of put you more in the focus. Now this is set to clear mode, and as you can see the background is nice and clear, but if I push this button here, then the background goes into a nice blur, which is just a little trick by playing with the sort of settings in the camera, and it can be done on other cameras, but this can be done at the touch of a button, so you get the nice blur, a little bit of bokeh in the background. Looks absolutely beautiful. So another feature the ZV-E10 has is steady shot. So at the moment you can literally turn it off or on. I'm using an 18mm lens with optical steady shot. It's actually built into the lens. So this is the setting that we've got with the standard steady shot, which obviously uses the lens itself. I'll now change it to the active steady shot, and as you can see, this is with the camera extended roughly the same distance. It crops in quite a bit more, but you may or may not be able to see a difference in the actual steadiness of this. I'm actually walking as I'm vlogging this, just so you can get an idea of what the steady shot is like. So the ZV-E10, being a vlogging camera, does have a built-in mic. Well, actually 3 built-in mics, which are placed along the top of the mic. This clip I'm filming now is using my DJI mic, my wireless mic, which I've actually got here on my lapel. But we're going to swap now to the inbuilt microphone to see if you can tell any difference. Now we're using the internal microphone that comes on the camera. So I don't know if you can tell the difference. I'm in the same location. There's a little bit of a breeze. It's a bit cooler than on some of the other clips, but this is the internal microphone. There is a dead cat that you can fit to the camera, which should alleviate any of the extra sort of wind noises. So we'll put that on now and see if you can tell the difference with that. So this is the last test. We've got the dead cat fitted to the ZV-E10's hot shoe. So this is basically up to you whether you can tell if there's any difference or not. The dead cat should actually prevent a little bit of wind noise or background noise and make this a clearer clip, but I'll leave that up to you. Now we're going to go back inside where it's warm and finish off this review. So the Sony ZV-E10, what are my final thoughts on it? Well, actually, I think it's a beautiful little camera, certainly smaller slightly and lighter than the other 6000 series cameras from Sony, and it is targeted at sort of a beginner or entry-level user. Personally, I think that is probably slightly unfair in that it is definitely an upgrade to the Sony a6000 or a6100, so I would say they are definitely more entry level. The very fact that the screen flips out and you can actually see what you're filming is godsend for me, and it doesn't flip up like the 6100. The fact that it flips out means that you actually can put things on the top and still be able to see the screen. Now, the fact that there is no viewfinder has caught me out a few times, and I'm saying that with a little bit of experience because I have been using the ZVE10 now for around about 6 weeks. So any other videos on my channel that have been published in the last sort of month and a half, you will have seen they have been using the ZVE10. The 4K is brilliant, and some of the other modes, which means you can get the sort of time lapses and the slow motion, is very, very good on this camera. It is very easy to use. The actual setup on the top here is very, very straightforward. However, I do know somebody has been caught out by accidentally pushing one of the buttons and getting a completely unusable clip when they've been filming their vlogs. So it is something that, again, it's good practice anyway to check your settings. So the big question is the ZVE10 any good? And I would have to say yes, it is. It is a big upgrade to the a6000. It is a good upgrade to the 6100, and it is certainly somewhere in the range between, I would say, the 6400 and 6600. It does actually have a few features that compete with those higher spec cameras. So if you are looking for a interchangeable lens camera that has a lot of good features at a decent price point, because this price point again comes in somewhere between the sort of it's about the same price as I think the a6100 currently. Yes, it is classed as an entry level camera, but it isn't cheap in terms of cameras, but you are getting a decent piece of kit, and it's a camera that so far I am very happy with, other than a couple of times where the autofocus hasn't worked because I actually haven't been able to use the viewfinder because it doesn't have one. But that is a learning curve. Using the product showcase feature, I actually would have saved myself a lot of problems, but I hadn't got it activated at the time. So again, learning curve there, but all in all, decent little camera. I think personally that I would recommend it. And you know what, it's been on the market for a year, the price hasn't budged, it is holding its price point, and it is a good little camera. It's been a while since I've done one of these sort of unboxing slash review videos. I do love a little bit of tech, and this camera is a camera that is being good to me so far. I've had some good results from it. So that is going to do it for today's video. Thank you to everybody that supports the channel by watching and subscribing. It really does mean the world to me. And if you actually do support the channel through Patreon or YouTube memberships, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that, and it helps me actually get a few extra sort of types of video out. I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Waterfall out.